Good evening. I call to order this zoning meeting of Knox County Commission for Monday, August 28th, 2023. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lundy.
Here.
Commissioner Darrett.
Here.
Commissioner Oster. Commissioner Ward.
Here.
Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Here.
Commissioner Hill. Here. Commissioner Lee. Here. Commissioner Beeler.
Here.
Commissioner Daly. Here. Commissioner Jay. Here. Commissioner Frazier.
Present.
All 11 members are present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Director Moyers, I'll turn it over to you for those who are here to testify.
All right, if you're here to speak to this body on any item on the zoning agenda, please stand and raise your right hand. You're either here for or against any item. If you're an applicant, if you're going to be speaking, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Be seated. I'd like to remind you that Knox County Commission has passed an ordinance making it a civil penalty of $500 to lie or misrepresent under oath to this body during this meeting.
Thank you, Director Moyers. Madam Clerk, will you please read our first item?
It's item 7-E-23-RZ, request of Ronald Profit for rezoning from A agricultural to RA low density residential. The property is located at 1103 East Beaver Creek Drive, parcel ID 047169 in the 7th Commission District.
Is the applicant present? Sir, if you would please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Ronald Profit, 4016 Oakland Drive, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37918.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none? That was very fancy.
I had to make sure.
Director Brooks, will you please read the Planning Commission's recommendation for this item?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the RA low-density residential zone because it's consistent with the sector plan designation and will allow development compatible with the surrounding land uses and zoning pattern by a vote of 12-0 consent.
Thank you. Mr. Prophet, would you like to give us any kind of description on your project?
We're wanting to put a house on the property. We got to get it. It's a mother-in-law's property. We're splitting it up, and we're going to put a house there to take care of them.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you say it's okay.
I will look to my fellow commissioners now for any discussion or comments. Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is this in the PRZ zone? Either Director Brooks or Director Snowden? And will there be sidewalks necessary at some point? It is in the Bricky McLeod Elementary Parental Responsibility Zone. And I'll defer
That's
to
just
Director Snowden.
so that you're aware that at some point you may have to put sidewalks in.
Okay. They've made a path there anyway, so.
Just making you aware.
Okay.
No surprises.
Thank you. Any other commissioners wishing to speak before I turn it over to the district commissioner? Seeing no more lights, Commissioner Lee, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd make a motion to approve the low-density residential zone because it's consistent with the sector plan designation and will allow development compatible with surrounding land uses and zoning pattern. Second.
Motion to approve Planning Commission's recommendation by Commissioner Lee, but with a second by Commissioner Oster. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Good luck with your project, sir.
Sweet. Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 7-F-23-RZ is a request of Sam Hargrove for rezoning from A agricultural to RA low-density residential. Property is located at 1412 Church Pit Road, parcel ID 105114 in the 3rd Commission District.
Is the applicant present? Not here. Okay, well, Commissioner Oster, your light is on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since Mr. Hargrove isn't here, and I've actually reached out to him 3 times to try to find out what the number is, and I actually spoke to Director Brooks today, there's not enough information. So what I'd like to do is postpone this for 30 days, defer it, and until we can kind of get some answers on what's going on.
Okay. So is that a motion to
It's a
defer?
motion, I'm sorry.
And I realize that since he is not here, if he does not show up, that it would be automatically postponed to the following month. But
That's what I assumed, but I just
if
wanted-
we go ahead and do it, if he does show up, then we wouldn't be able to postpone it. So if you want to go ahead and make that motion to postpone or defer, I guess.
Yeah, we'll defer it.
Okay.
Second.
I'll second it.
Do what? Who seconded it? I'm sorry. We got 2. Okay. So the motion is to defer to our September, is that enough time? September meeting? By Commissioner Oster with a second by Commissioner Frazier. Well, who is it? Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That item is deferred to September. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
7-I-23-RZ is a request of Richard Toole and Laura Toole for rezoning from RA Low Density Residential to A Agricultural. The property is located at 10110 Mascot Road, parcel ID 053-00201 in the 8th Commission District.
Is the applicant present? Please approach the podium. And state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, I'm Laura Toole at 10110 Mascot Road.
Richard Toole, 1201 Wallace Road.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks, will you please read us Planning Commission's recommendation?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the A agricultural zone because it's consistent with the sector plan designation and will allow development compatible with the surrounding land uses by a vote of 12-0 consent.
Thank you, ma'am. Would you all like to say anything about your project, what you're planning on doing?
Yes, we're just rezoning it back to ag as it was that prior to us purchasing it in 1989 because we have livestock and we plan to get more. So that's why we need it back to agriculture.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioners, turn it over to you for discussion. Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick thanks for zoning this ag. We truly appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I know that's not the norm to go back. Yeah.
Thank you. Seeing no other lights on, I will look to District Commissioner Richie Beeler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Frazier. We do love our agricultural property in the 8th District and our livestock.
Yeah. Well,
So-
we're getting many cows and many goats.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Goats. Well, it'll be a clean piece of property then.
Yep.
They're little. They're the size
Oh.
of dogs.
Oh, many goats.
Yeah.
Okay, not many.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I have no problem making a motion that we approve this rezoning according to the Planning Commission's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, there were 3 seconds.
Third.
Okay. Motion to approve by Commissioner Beeler with a second by Commissioner Daly. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That project is approved.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 7-B-23-SP is a request of Dale Akins for a Northwest County Sector Plan Amendment from O Office and SP Stream Protection to GC General Commercial and SP Stream Protection. The property is located at 10105 Hardin Valley Road, parcel ID 104-08408 in the 6th Commission District.
Thank you. I see the applicants present. If you would please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Dale Akins. I reside at 12624 Barnstable Lane in Knoxville.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the sector plan amendment to GC General Commercial Land Use Classification because it is a minor extension of that land use class at an existing commercial node by a vote of 12-0. The SP Stream Protection Land Use Classification will be retained.
Thank you. Mr. Akins, do you care to speak to your project?
I'll make it brief as I can. Basically, this is modeled after a concept in North Carolina called Red Bridges Barbecue, and clearly I don't miss many meals, as you can see. So what we're doing is taking a property that's an old house, and it's 3 acres. It's sort of sandwiched between the industrial park, the creek, and Hardin Valley Animal Hospital. And we're making it just an old-fashioned smoke yard. So what that means, it's a place you go as a family, and you can have a meal that we want if the parking works out, to have additional food truck parking in the front. I operate a food truck hub in West Knoxville called the Chef's Workshop. So we're familiar with the food truck world, and we operate in that world already. So, but the idea is it's a venue you go to. We're also working with various aspects with Cardinal Health, and we're on the creek. We've got a little over 1,000 foot of frontage on the creek, and we're trying to, with this Knox Waterways Trail, we were on that trail. And so we're trying to figure out how to configure a kayak launch, landing, those kind of things. But we're way preliminary at this point to see if that's going to work. But it'd be an added addition if we can get that to work as well. So you could come to us, park your car, get a ride upstream, get dropped off, and float back to us. And then you've got dinner, you've got a place to do something with your family. That's the summary of it.
It's a great idea. Okay, thank you. I look to Commission for any comments or discussion. Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you for reaching out to members of Knox County Parks and Recs and Legacy Parks Foundation and talking about all the hard work we're doing on Beaver Creek and some of the opportunities that might arise. We still have several years of clearing out before we start fine-tuning, but we appreciate the partnership and people thinking ahead of how to keep our waterways both accessible and clean. So I appreciate the opportunity to work with you down the road.
Thank you. Any further discussion before turning it over to Commissioner Hill? Seeing none, Commissioner Hill, you have the floor.
Mr. Akins, you cannot believe the stir you have caused with the wood and the truck and people. What's going on? What are they going to put there? There's a great deal of excitement in the community over your plan, and I'm very excited to have you come and be a part of us. So
Fantastic.
Without further comments, I'd like to recommend that we approve the sector plan amendment to the general commercial land use classification.
Second.
Motion is to approve Planning Commission's action of the sector plan amendment to general commercial by Commissioner Hill with a second by Commissioner Frazier. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Good.
Hold on, we got one more.
Oh, yep.
The next item is 7-N-23-RZ. It's a request of Dale Akins for rezoning from A Agricultural, F Floodway, and OB Office Medical and Related Services to F Floodway and CA General Business. And the property description is the same as the previous item.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you please state your name and address for the record again, please?
Sure. Dale Akins. I reside at 12624 Barnstable Lane.
Thank you. Any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the CA business zone for the area outside of the F floodway zone because it is a minor extension of the commercial node and is not anticipated to create any adverse impacts, subject to one condition by a vote of 12-0. The F floodway zone will be retained.
Thank you. Anything you wish to add, Mr. Akins?
No.
All right, thanks. Commissioners, any further discussion? Seeing no lights, Commissioner Hill. the floor
Thank
is
you.
yours.
Thank you. And thank you again, Mr. Akins. That's a very creative use out of a very funky piece of property.
It is a weird piece of property.
It is. And the fact that you are protecting the floodplain, and it's remarkable. So thank you. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we approve the general business zone for an area outside the floodplain zone because it is a minor extension of the commercial node and is not anticipated to create any adverse impact, subject to one condition.
Second. Motion on the floor is to approve Planning Commission's recommendation by Commissioner Hill with a second by Commissioner Frazier. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Daly.
I just wanted to tell the prophets, Mr. Prophet, Ms. Prophet, we're done unless you just want to sit here all night long.
We're just interested.
All right, good.
You're the only one.
You have to dance more, though, if you do stick around.
So we were leaving now.
Oh, no. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 7-Q-23-RZ is a request of Homestead Land Holdings LLC for rezoning from A agricultural to PR Plan residential up to 4 dwelling units per acre. Properties located at 7336 Millertown Pike, parcel ID 050202 in the 8th Commission District.
Is the applicant present? Will you please state your name and address for the record?
Yes, Russell Rackley with Rackley Engineering, P.O. Box 30456, Knoxville, here representing the applicant, Homestead Land Holdings, LLC.
Thank you, sir. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PR Plan residential zone up to 4 dwelling units per acre because it's consistent with the sector plan designation by a vote of 13-0.
Thank you. Mr. Rackley, do you care to speak to this project?
We just respectfully ask approval per Planning Commission's recommendations. I'll be happy
Thank
to
you.
answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, with that, I'll turn it over to Commission. Anyone have any questions or discussion regarding this item? Seeing none, I will turn it over to Commissioner Beeler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did have a question or two for the applicant. Sir, do you have a general idea? I mean, it's a pretty good-sized piece of property, 37 acres. Did you have a general idea of what you wanted to build, how many houses and so forth?
Yes, we're saving the 2 houses on the front and putting them on half to 1 acre lots, and we have just submitted a concept plan that will be heard before Planning Commission in October for 130 townhomes on the front portion. Now, this property is constrained a little bit with a 150-foot TVA power line easement that bisects it, as well as a wet weather conveyance or stream. We've not got the final determination on that yet. So it's primarily trying to provide some housing that is cost accessible housing by way of doing townhomes, by doing as much density as we can achieve within the zoning requirements on less infrastructure and roadways. So it'll be a townhome development, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for that information. Madam Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion to approve this rezoning per the Planning Commission recommendation up to 4 dwelling units per acre.
Okay. Motion is to approve Planning Commission's recommendation by Commissioner Beeler with a second by Commissioner Hill. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
7-R-23-RZ is a request of Homestead Land Holdings LLC for rezoning from RA Low Density Residential to PR Plan Residential up to 6 dwelling units per acre. The property is located at 8205 Nubbin Ridge Drive, parcel ID 133JA008 in the 4th Commission District.
Sir, please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, Russell Rackley with Rackley Engineering, P.O. Box 30456, Knoxville, here representing the applicant, Homestead Land Holdings, LLC.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PR Plan Residential Zone up to 6 dwelling units per acre by a vote of 12 to 1.
Thank you. Mr. Ackley, do you care to speak to this project?
We respectfully ask approval per Planning Commission's recommendations. I will note that PR6 seems kind of high, but this is just 1.62 acres, so PR6 will grant us up to 9 units, which would be 3 triplexes or 9 townhomes, which is our intent for this property. And I respectfully ask approval per Planning Commission's recommendations.
Okay. Commissioners, Commissioner Frazier, your light is on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question for Director Brooks. Staff recommended up to 4. Can you just give us some information on that, please?
Certainly. I think when staff was doing their analysis and the recommendation for this, I'm just going to turn on them. They were looking at the surrounding, the densities of the developments in close proximity. And the recommendation was primarily based off of that. So you'll see a lot of 1 to 4 dwelling units per acre.
Mr. Rackley, have you all reached out to the community? There were 10 public comments. Have you made any attempt to reach out to them, talk about your project, hopefully just have a good intentional conversation?
We have had conversations with the adjoining property owners on either side. Obviously, until zoning is finalized, we don't have detailed plans or a project to even do yet, even though we've already purchased the property. I think at Planning Commission, I made the argument that the difference between staff recommendations and our request was 3 units. So it's 6 townhomes at their recommendation or 9 townhomes at our recommendation, and I think that they agreed that being such a small parcel, it wasn't that big of a leap. Obviously, if this were 20 acres or 30 acres or 40 acres, PR4 to PR6 would be a giant change. But we're just trying to, again, to find opportunities in desirable, in the desirable zip codes of the area that my clients normally build in to try to optimize and provide the missing middle and provide the housing at a more accessible price point for that zip code to try to fit the need.
As you move forward with your project and you learn more about the way that you're going to develop it, I ask you to please stay in communication with the community members and the adjacent property owners and just keep them up to date and answer any questions that they might have along the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely, we will. And you know, I generally do that. So once we have a concept plan, which I've not even began yet, but once we submit something, we will absolutely be reaching out with the surrounding communities, property owners to let them know what's coming.
Thank you. Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Brooks, in the documents that you provided to us for tonight's meeting, you have a notation in here that in May of 2019, they tried to rezone this property at 6 dwelling units per acre, and then the application was withdrawn. Is this the same applicant that in 2019 wanted to have the 6 dwelling units per acre?
I'd have to double check.
I can answer that and tell you no. We're not the same applicant.
Okay.
We purchased the property in 2022.
Okay. So, and we don't know that why it was withdrawn. Was it
No, sir, I do not know.
because of the density?
I do not know. I can take a look here and see if there's any history specifically on that case that I can find on KJS.
Is that going to take a while, or is it pretty quick?
Yes, it'll take a couple minutes.
Okay. Well, I'll see if there's any other questions.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, I guess, is this pertinent? Like, will this hold you up on your vote?
If I may, I can give you what bit of insight or hearsay I have of the prior contract purchaser that stopped and failed to purchase the property. And that was that they couldn't get the funding to buy the property, and so that's why they withdrew the application. Now, that's, again, what we were told when the property came back available and we got it under contract and subsequently purchased it.
Yes, it looks like the applicant requested a withdrawal on April 22nd, 2019, which would have been in advance of the May meeting.
Seeing no other lights on, I will turn this over to District Commissioner Kyle Ward.
Thank you. We are short on housing in my district. There's a PR7 just 2 streets up, and on the other side on Westland there's 6.7, and down the street there's 5, and up the street there's 5. So I don't have a problem with the density either, considering this is such a small property. So I'll make a motion to approve PR at 6.
Motion to approve Planning Commission's recommendation by Commissioner Ward with a second by Commissioner Oster. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 7-F-23-SP is a request of Steve Drummer for a North County Sector Plan Amendment from MDR&O, Medium Density Residential and Office, and HP Hillside Protection to GC General Commercial and HP Hillside Protection. Properties located at 1513 East Emory Road, parcel ID 047124, part of, in the 7th Commission District.
Is the applicant present? I see you are. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Steve Drummer. I live at 6764 Emerton Road, Knoxville 37918.
Thank you. Is there any opposition or anyone wishing to speak to this item? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the sector plan amendment to the GC General Commercial Land Use Classification on the front half of the parcel because it is a minor extension of that land use class at an existing commercial node by a vote of 12-0 consent. The HP Hillside Protection Land Use Classification will be retained.
Thank you. Mr. Drummer, do you wish to speak to this project?
Yes. I'm actually the civil engineer for a group of developers that this is kind of a, not really an add-on project, but some of the developers of the property next door that's currently being constructed, the Emory Mills Senior Living, wanted to buy this property and develop something that would complement that development. It's not ironclad yet exactly what it will be, but probably something of a health or something that would complement the senior living in the back part, and then something similar but be more of a commercial type operation on the front half.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Commission for any questions or discussion. Commissioner Daly.
Thanks. Is that the piece of property way up on top of the hill with the big wall?
If you come up Dry Gap to Emory now and you look up there, behind the big wall is going to be the senior living center. It's a 2-story structure. There's 2 out parcels on the front. This property is immediately to the right or towards I guess that would be to the east. It's the little house that looks like it's about ready to fall down now.
Yeah, it comes out at the red light. I know where it's at.
Yes.
You don't have to show me. I know it comes out there at the red light. It's a good intersection. And
Right, yeah.
When you said that, that wall is a tall
The wall is
wall.
way up on the hill, yeah. In fact, it was a 3-way intersection. The traffic light has already been reconfigured to be a 4-way now.
Thank you. Any other discussion before turning it over to Commissioner Lee? Seeing no lights, Commissioner Lee, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I have a question about that. Is that going to take out that little automotive place right there?
Eventually, yes, that's one of the out parcels. The other out parcel is where the house sat for so long. It had been many things. It was a animal clinic at one point, and I forget 2 or 3 other things, but that house has already been torn down. But eventually, the automotive repair area will also be demoed and reconfigured into something. That's part of the CA part of that property.
And you are aware of the being a type A dense landscape screen?
The what, I'm sorry?
The type A dense landscape scene?
Yes.
I'd make a motion to approve the sector plan amendment to the general commercial land use classification on the front half of the parcel because it's a minor extension of the land use class and an existing commercial node.
Second.
Motion to approve Planning Commission's recommendation of the sector plan amendment to general commercial by Commissioner Lee with a second by Commissioner Oster. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Madam Clerk, next item.
17-23-RZ is also a request of Steve Drummer. It's for rezoning from A agricultural to CA general business and OB office medical and related services. And the property description is the same as the previous item.
Thank you. Will you please state your name and address again for the record?
Steve Drummer, 6764 Emerton Road, Knoxville, 37918.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this item or speak at all? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the CA General Business Zone for the front half of the parcel and the OB Office Medical and Related Services Zone for the rear half of the parcel because both are minor extensions and are not anticipated to create any adverse impacts subject to one condition by a vote of 12-0 consent.
Thank you. Mr. Drummer, do you have anything to add?
Not unless there's any further questions.
Okay. Commission? We'll open the floor for any more discussion or questions for Mr. Drummer. Seeing no lights, Commissioner Lee, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd make a motion to approve the general business zone for the front half of the parcel and the office medical related services zone for the rear half of the parcel.
Motion to approve Planning Commission's recommendation by Commissioner Lee with a second by Commissioner Beeler. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
7-U-23-RZ is a request of JW Construction for rezoning from A agricultural to PR Plan residential up to 5 dwelling units per acre. The property is located at 5711 Brown Gap Road, parcel ID 029070 in the 7th Commission District.
See the applicants present. Will you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure. David Harbin at 4334 Paper Mill Drive here in Knoxville.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PR Plan residential zone up to 5 dwelling units per acre because it is consistent with the sector plan designation and surrounding development by a vote of 12-0 consent.
Thank you. Mr. Harbin, do you wish to speak to this project?
Not really. We're just in agreement with the Planning Commission and urge your approval as such.
Thank you. Commissioners, any discussion or questions for Mr. Harbin? Seeing none, I will turn it over to Commissioner Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sir, what do you tend to build there?
I'm the engineer on the site, so our developer tends to build a single-family detached subdivision there.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the planned residential zone up to 5 dwelling units per acre.
Second.
Motion to approve Planning Commission's recommendation by Commissioner Lee with a second by Commissioner Frazier. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck with your project. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
6B-23-RZ is a request of Domingo Garcia for rezoning from A agricultural to RA low-density residential. The property is located at 1533 Forster Road, parcel ID 047EB016 in the 7th Commission District.
Good afternoon. Will you please state your name and address for the record?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Domingo Garcia. I live at 1485 Branch Field Lane in Knoxville.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the RA Low Density Residential Zone because it's consistent with the sector plan designation and will allow development compatible with the surrounding land uses and zoning pattern by a vote of 13-0 consent.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, do you wish to speak to this project?
Just to say that I'm not a developer, a builder, investor. I'm a dad with a lot of adult children that I wish to split that property up and put more dwelling units on it.
Okay, thank you. Commission, I will open the floor for any questions or comments for Mr. Garcia. Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Garcia, do you still intend to convert the meat shop to a house, as in your comments?
Yes.
Okay, so it is an existing structure?
Yes, there's no roof on it presently, but it's a block unit. Yeah,
That way you can age the meat, huh?
It was, I understand it was a FDA-approved meat house at one time.
Wow.
It was set up where people could back up and unload their deer and go in one door and come out the other side with an ice chest full of packed, beef or whatever. So.
Okay, great. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion before I turn it over to Commissioner Lee? Seeing no lights, Commissioner Lee, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd make a motion to approve the low-density residential zone because it's consistent with the sector plan designation.
Second.
Motion to approve Planning Commission's recommendation by Commissioner Lee with a second by Commissioner Frazier. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Good luck, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
6-H-23-RZ is a request of Roy Anderson and Stephen Patchett for rezoning from agricultural to PR Plan residential, up to 5 dwelling units per acre. Properties located at 842 East Raccoon Valley Drive, parcel ID 026057 in the 7th Commission District.
Is the applicant present? Please give your name and address for the record.
Stephen Paget, 211 Stone Breeze Drive, Powell, Tennessee.
Thank you.
37849.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PR Plan residential zone with up to 3.5 dwelling units per acre because it is consistent with the sector plan designation with the surrounding development subject to one condition by a vote of 13-0.
Thank you. Mr. Paget, do you wish to speak to this project?
We spoke last time, or I did, and everyone, I guess, agreed, so I don't have anything to add. Just trying to get approval, and I didn't realize I was supposed to be at the last meeting, or I'd have been here. So we missed that one, and so now I'm just trying to follow through.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners? Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is the parcel to the east of you, is that the campground?
It is.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are you aware of the Blue Line stream that runs through the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you will take that into consideration when you start your
Absolutely.
concept plan? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Commissioner Daly?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just for information purposes for maybe planning, you said you didn't know to be here last month. But inside the application, everything, there's notices. You think you just didn't read it or just missed it?
Yeah, this is the first time I've done this, so it's possible that I looked over it and didn't read it properly.
Yeah, I just wanted maybe something that we could help you out with or miss, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, Commissioner Lee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd make a motion to approve the planned residential zone with up to 3.5 dwelling units per acre.
Motion to approve Planning Commission's recommendation by Commissioner Lee with a second by Commissioner Oster. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Good luck, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 6-I-23-RZ is a request of Trowbridge Land Holdings LLC for rezoning from A agricultural to PR Plan residential up to 5 dwelling units per acre. Properties located at 8103 Norris Freeway and 8150 Pellix Road, parcel ID 028, 057, and 021 in the 7th Commission District.
Thank you. Sir, would you please state your name and residence?
Brad Davis, 12236 Stonehouse Lane, Knoxville.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PR Plan residential zone with up to 3.5 dwelling units per acre because it's consistent with the sector plan designation of the surrounding development, subject to one condition by a vote of 13-0.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, do you care to speak to this project?
Nothing to add at this point other than we are comfortable with the recommendation.
Okay. Commission, I'll open the floor to any questions or discussion regarding this item for Mr. Davis. Seeing none, Commissioner Lee, you are the lady of the hour.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would make a motion to approve the planned residential zone with up to 3.5 dwelling units per acre.
Motion to approve Planning Commission's recommendation by Commissioner Lee with a second by Commissioner Hill. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
5-C-23-RZ is a request of DC Foundations Incorporated for rezoning from A agricultural to OB office, medical, and related services. Properties located at 6789 Oak Ridge Highway, parcel ID 079-04901 in the 6th Commission District.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Andrew Gaither, Young Williams and Tice Law Firm, 300 Montview Road.
Thank you. And sir, will you be speaking as well?
If needed.
Go ahead and
Anthony-
state your name and address for the record.
Anthony Gaynor, 1710 Veda Circle, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37912.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this item or anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the OB Office Medical and Related Services Zone since it is consistent with the sector plan's MUSD NWCO 10 Mixed Use Special District, Shawd Road, Oak Ridge Highway Crossroads, land use designation by a vote of 13-0.
Thank you. Do either of you wish to speak to this project?
Yes. At the previous meeting, there had been a miscommunication regarding whether or not we could have a mechanic shop operating on the premises under the OB zoning for the purposes of servicing DC Foundation's vehicles. That mechanic shop has been shut down and is no longer in operation, and they have constructed a new one on a separate piece of property where it is properly allowed, and they're in the process of getting the remaining equipment out of there now. And I believe that that was the chief concern regarding this rezoning, and I just wanted to let everyone know that has been addressed.
Thank you. Commission, I'll open the floor to questions. Commissioner Frazier, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And when did that occur? Because I've received pictures as of 3-4 days ago that there were still pieces of heavy equipment on those properties.
They've been working on it over the past week. I believe Codes came out and had a conversation with them, and after that, they've started moving them out last week and have continued getting everything out, and I think everything's out now. We have some pictures that were taken today, if you would like to see those as well.
I would, yes.
Let's see.
And while
Why did it take so long for you all to respond to the county and to the codes and to several notice of violations?
Well, it was an ongoing conversation regarding whether or not those vehicles were allowed at that specific property and under the OB zoning. The previous violations had been at a different property located across the street. And so it was really a miscommunication. We had misunderstood and had thought that it would be okay to have them there under the OB zoning after some conversations with codes. And eventually it we realized that that was not going to work with the OB zoning. And so it's been a process of finding a place to move those two, deciding whether or not to fully relocate out of the county or somewhere else altogether, or to move them to a different piece of property and just trying to get somewhere to put them, really.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all working that out.
Would you like these pictures here?
And while Mr. Gaither is handing those, Director Snowden, do you care to speak to the email that we received this afternoon?
Yes, I will. And I want to confirm, my staff did have a follow-up visit to this location today and discovered what the gentleman is saying, that it appeared that all the truck shop activity had been ceased and things had been relocated. So my staff found no violations of this sort today at their inspection.
Thank you, sir. All right. Commissioner Daley?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Snowden, was there any fines levied or anything from the previous violations?
There were not. Like I said, we tried to advise these folks, and just in a communication, there were no fines associated with any of those violations.
I just hope that we're not back. I just hope that we don't hear that you decided a year from now to start your truck shop back up or whatever. Please don't do that.
We've got other plans.
Okay.
We've got other plans to relocate. Okay. We've got other plans to relocate. Everything was off-site officially Friday per instruction, and then we're looking for property in either Roane County or Loudoun County to move that operation to.
Thank you. Seeing no other lights, Commissioner Hill, the floor is yours.
Thank you. That land is currently zoned agriculture. That's a huge building and house that is sitting there. Do you currently have a plan for that property?
The house is two-story. It'll be finished and sold at some point. The owner has put an offer in to a piece of property, I believe, in Roane County, which will remove the operation from Knox County to there. So we'll be more than likely relocating there, probably by the end of the year.
All right. It sounds like then the property will be for sale.
It's the downstairs is not completely finished, so it'll be finished and then put it for sale.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, given the information that we have just been given, I would make a motion that we deny the change of zoning that was submitted in the application.
Motion on the floor is to deny the change of zoning in the application by Commissioner Hill with a second by Commissioner Oster. I just want to reiterate that an affirmative vote is to deny it, not to approve. All those in favor to deny, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
It's ordinance O-23-7-101, an ordinance amending the Knox County Code Appendix A zoning, Article 2, Section 2.20, specific terms, to amend the definition of swimming pool. Ordinance O-90-9-130 adopted September 10th, 1990 as amended. This is on second reading.
All right.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Daley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to make a motion to approve in the honor of Miss Linda H. who give me a headache.
Thank you. Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Under the condition that Commissioner Daley removes the hot tub from his front yard.
All right. Motion to approve by Commissioner Daley with a second by Commissioner Beeler. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Commissioner Darrett.
Aye.
Commissioner Oster. Commissioner Ward, Commissioner Schoonmaker, Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Lee,
Aye.
Commissioner Beeler,
Aye.
Commissioner Daly, Commissioner Jay, Commissioner Frazier. All members voting aye.
That ordinance is approved. Miss Linda H. can rest easy. We are to other business. I just want to remind everyone that reorganization is taking place this Friday at 8 a.m. in the small assembly. Is there anything else to come before us under other business or to come before commission in general? Seeing none, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
We are adjourned.